Just a quick announcement again, it's the same thing as last episode, but with less information. This is just an episode that we recorded way back then when we were only releasing this in Spotify. We just wanted to get them all in YouTube as well. So, yeah, that's it. Let's go to the episode.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us in this week's episode of the Weekly Harvest. I'm Hecata, your standard everyday run-of-the-mill host. I have my guest here, Bubble, who is also the winner of the Oklahoma or Broken Arrow near Tulsa, Oklahoma. He was the winner of the local ceremony this past weekend. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Bubble.
Hi, I'm BubblePerson418 on Discord, or my in real life name is Tommy. I am from Oklahoma City, and I am just happy to be here, really.
Yeah. So everybody listening, we actually met in person. Bubble is an amazing dude, super chill. He absolutely stomped me at the ceremony. I didn't know what to do really because I've never seen a deck like his yet. Which we'll actually kind of go over at some point later, or probably soon. But seeing that Bubble here actually was the winner of one of the local ceremonies, figured I'd kind of run down a couple of questions, see what's going on in that head of his, because it was just running circles around mine. I could tell you that, being a red Unga Bunga player. So, but yeah, just wanted to thank you again for joining me on this episode. He's going to be around this whole episode, but figured we'd start off with interviewing him. And just like right off the bat, Bubble, I know what deck you played. But if you wouldn't mind telling everybody else, what kind of deck did you run? Like, what was your deck in general?
So it is a Aya Center Enter Denial / discard deck. The way
Yeah.
it functions, it's fairly linear in game plan. It tries to discard you as much as possible, but then it does enough damage without actually giving you any enter. And
Yeah,
that's
I
the
mean,
general premise of the game.
definitely, yeah. I can vouch for that one. And you said you used Aya as your center.
Correct.
Who are the assists that you used for everybody else out here?
I use Monica and Nova as it.
Okay. And I know the Novas you used. I actually forgot the names of the level 1 Nova. I think it was Slash, Nova Slash.
So my level 1 was Nova Dirty, and then
Oh
my
yeah.
level 2 was Nova Slash.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then your Monica, I know you used I think you used Float and Clap.
I used Break,
Oh,
actually.
break. Okay. So, I mean, without if you don't want us to give away like your secret sauce here, we don't have to either. But I know, yeah, using that your deck in general, is if memory serves, you were running mostly like you're running a blue white, and that just terrified me because being a general X aggro player, you left me with no resources at all. I had no enter, no hand, and it was just tough. Like it was a real tough deck to fight against.
Right. And like in my experience going up against like XDXM especially, sure they do have some trash recursion, but I feel like it's very limited. Because like because I know even when you try to discard them down, they'll always get back up with like Dace Recovery or Trigger or like Death Deck. But like even though, like, it's very, very limited.
Yeah, I at least from my perspective, that generally gives you about one turn of ideal play,
Right.
maybe two, but yeah, you're looking at 1 to 2 turns of super ideal counterplay. But after that, the deck does tend to fizzle, and you're just kind of top decking, especially if you were discarding heavily.
Right.
Um, but along with that, though, I think you're using, if I'm not mistaken, Summer Life Blues is one of your pieces.
Correct.
I don't recall actually what your second piece was. I don't know if you even played it against me.
I'm pretty sure I did. I may have used it. I'm pretty sure I did use it against you, but my other piece was Can't Stop Pretty.
Oh no, you did use it. Yes, you did use cancel. Yep. Oh, okay. As well, I know. So Summer Life Blues definitely is a good, uh, a bit more of aggressive card too. So I know that can help you push a little bit of that extra damage.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot what Can't Stop Pretty does off the top of my head.
Okay, so pretty much it's a blue piece, one enter or one blue enter. It gives your center Elric the ability for the rest of the game of exceeding 4, and then downing a Signy on your opponent's field unless I discard 3.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay, I remember that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, just generally with your white blue, just huge hand denial, huge enter denial. Uh, that just won you the local tournament or the local ceremony. So I know you walked away with a mat. You walked away with the alternate congrats Xeno cluster. You got all the promos and stuff. And I think I remember you telling me in person. I think you were like have been just wiping uh ceremonies clean recently.
I only played in one other ceremony in Oklahoma, and I mean, there was only
And
there
you
was a
won,
really
right?
small turnout, so like by comparison, there just wasn't as many hurdles to jump over.
Okay, that's true. But okay. So I mean, but still, it sounds like you're still getting a really decent win rate with that. So I mean, if anybody's listening to this in the future, watch out for BubblePerson and his
No.
his blue white deck. To be fair, I know the next set is coming out. What is it? Conflated, I believe. Yes, Conflated is going to be releasing right before the GP, so we'll probably see a little bit of a mix-up. So can't guarantee that BubblePerson will be playing that same deck. He might. Who knows?
You will never know.
Yeah, we won't really know. But with that being said, though, with the ceremonies, so like, how did you feel about the ceremony? Like, what was the turnout like? I know we were there both in person, but just kind of want to hear it from your perspective.
So I had no idea who was gonna how many was gonna show up other than you and I. So there was a total of 7 players that showed up, which already exceeded my expectations because I was just hoping there was gonna be more than what I
Like
had at
two
the
or
other
three.
shop. Yeah, exactly. I was just hoping there was gonna be more than I had at the other shop. So 7 was like, okay, that's better than I expected. But then 7 being an odd number, like it's in terms of pairings and whatnot, I knew it's gonna be partially awkward. But yeah, there's a turnout of 7. I had a great time in general, just because like in general, I'm just really thankful that there's a Wixoss scene at all in Oklahoma. Like, and the fact that like there's like a second store that recently started a Wheatgrass community at all is amazing, and I'm just really thankful for the opportunity to at least even participate at all.
Yeah. Oh no, it was super fun. I mean, I know I was actually one of the guys who got the bye, so that got a little bit of a break, but it was still fun, even like the 2 matches that I played.
Oh, of course.
And yeah, even seeing like 7 people in total was really actually kind of exciting because at least where I'm at, there is no local scene. So meeting, arguably, I know one other guy locally, but like meeting you and 4 other people that just played Wecross and were really into it, it was an awesome experience still.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
and I mean, shout out if they're listening, cool. If they're not, I'm not expecting them to. But shout out to Oinker's Paradise for hosting that. They were a great store. I know my buddy kind of got into a little bit of a debate with one of the owners there about the pairings, but no fault of theirs. It was just it kind of happened. But they were still an amazing host, awesome store. If anybody's listening and near the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, feel free to stop by, say hi, join in on WeCross. They're a great store. And I mean, I don't I can say this for myself. I really like them. Pretty sure Bubble could say the same.
Oh, 100%.
But okay, so I know I mentioned even the next set already, but more recently, set P08 release, which was Spread Diva. We're a little bit late on the train here, but with that being said, though, so that released, what was that, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like 2 or 3 weeks ago at this
yeah,
point.
almost 3 weeks ago from at the time of recording. So we're a little bit late on the train here. I know with ceremonies coming up or being announced and happening, we've just been slacking a little bit, but new set hype, deck tacking, ceremony. I know all of us have been like, yeah, let's go.
There's been a lot going on lately too.
Yeah. Well, one thing we're gonna mention later in this podcast is also one of the bigger things that is happening with the WeCross community. So, and it's been huge, and it's been super massive.
You could say it's quite grand.
Oh, okay. But so with
that's
Spread
related.
Diva, we did have a bunch of new center Elrics. Kind of going down the list here, we had Yuki Yuka as a center. Eldora released, On, and Iona. From my personal experience, out of this group, I'm not a big fan of much of them. I will say I simp for Eldora, I do, but I
Gotta
don't
love the
think
artwork.
I love the artwork, but I don't think her center L rig is at least up to snuff as of right now. Um, I've been playing around with just a typical jewel deck for her. It's fun. It's janky. It's not good, but it is fun.
Right.
But I don't see any of these current centers really being a huge meta shift. At least to me, Yuka sounds great on paper. As her auto is whenever a Signy on your opponent's field attacks, the Signy loses its abilities until the end of the turn, unless your opponent pays 1. So a little bit of tax. Upon enter, return target Signy on your opponent's field. So she bounces 1 upon enter, which is a really solid ability. But definitely works better if she is turn 2. So your opponent can get to level 3 quicker and drop a level 3 Signy on the field that you can bounce back to hand. And then her once per game is do the following 3 times. Unless your opponent discards a card or pays 1 colorless, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Add up to 1 card among them to your hand and put the rest on the bottom of your deck. So you're essentially going to either look through arguably somewhere between 0 and 9 cards on the top of your deck, and then take up to 3 of them, unless your opponent basically either discards a card or pays 1 colorless for a total time. And I mean, so my personal opinion on that is it doesn't sound bad, but the fact that your opponent has the choice to either get rid of their own resources or give you cards, they're more than likely going to try and pick the least beneficial for the Yuka player.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I just don't think it's gonna. You just have to kind of expect, like, all right, cool. Do I need more cards? Well, I'm gonna resource burn my opponent now because I'm in need of cards and they can afford those resources. Or
Exactly.
I need them to burn through their resources, but they're just gonna give me cards now. And
Yeah,
I
like
just
that type of
it's
Punisher effect, it's like I have a lot of mixed feelings about it just because it puts your opponent in a really awkward position. But then the fact that like you're essentially at the mercy of your opponent is kind of
yep.
it,
You either need to like really set up the board the first 2 turns to have one specific outcome, or just deal with the consequences of having or letting your opponent pick what happens.
yeah, because I feel like it's like a really awkward timing sequencing of like at least without that particular once a game, and really all the other once a game like effects from with that within that team. I know they're all similar, but I feel like it's like kind of a dilemma between popping it early, where your opponent's more than likely low on resources, or popping it too late.
Yeah. I'll kind of agree with you, and we're both seem to be kind of on the same page of like she's not that great. I think she can be super fun. I think Kyrian in general is like super troll, meme, and fun, but I just don't see it winning a whole lot.
I will say, like I'm actually like considering even trying to build a Yuki Yuka build myself. Like what I really like about her is the fact that she is essentially a built-in Sela. So
Yeah,
like which like shuts down like a lot of cards if they can't pay or if they can't pay for the taxing ability,
yeah,
like
and I mean,
H2Os and like assassin and
and
whatnot.
yeah, I can't say that is a super useful ability because and especially if your opponent really wants that ability, you are going to be burning through their resources.
Exactly.
So you can kind of work with her, but I think you're really going to be going into the enter denial builds with her. And at that point, you're just basically trying to use her ability to either have your opponent discard cards or just get your own cards.
Yeah, because like a lot of common Yuki Yuki builds I've seen are just typically mono white or like maybe like double white and like a splash of blue for some discard.
Yeah, a little bit of extra discard in there. I will definitely say that. Even my buddy, who's not on the server or anything, but a local buddy of mine plays, and he wanted to build Yuka mono white, and exactly as you kind of said, duo white and 1 blue. So I think that's where a lot of people would go with that. At least personally, I don't think that's going to be a super strong build.
Hmm. I think it would probably be like a very strong, like maybe like a mid tier build if you wanted to be like, I guess one like categorize everything. But in terms of like absolutely obliterating the meta. Like I don't really. Yeah, I
No,
also just don't
no.
really see that happening.
I don't even
Anytime
think she's
soon.
gonna shake up the meta.
But I definitely think she adds some nice spice to like what we currently have for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, definitely. I honestly would agree with that. I think the biggest thing that Yuka Yuka has, at least in general, I think Kyurian in general has this. They have the ability to just throw your opponent way off because it's just you don't expect anybody to pick Kyurian.
And like not even that, or no, all that too, just because I feel like they're very underplayed. But like,
Oh
it
yeah,
seems
definitely.
like from my small exposure that like just their team is like all about taxing
Yep.
or just like creating or trying to intentionally create like suboptimal positions. But I know like Maho Maho does like a similar thing to like milling as well.
Yep.
And then like sometimes like if you're not really equipped to deal with it, it actually kind of can be scary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They can catch you off guard, but it's more. I feel like they still have to get you into like an ideal situation for the Kyurian player.
Right.
It's like if they get a leg up, they can keep that leg up. But if they're kind of on the downfall there, they're just tumbling.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Like, it's gonna take some like momentum for them to build up to that like
Yeah.
point.
Well, but speaking of going with a little bit of momentum, uh, actually that has very little to do with this now. But Eldora. So as I said, I'm a huge simp for Eldora. I love her character. Um, I'm still trying to get a super rare or secret rare level 2 of her, just because. But I don't think she's all that great. So her constant, which I think is good, um, is cards that do not have life burst in your life cloth and check zone gain life burst. Choose one, draw a card, or enter one. Enter, reveal the top card of your opponent's life cloth. You may swap that card with the top card of your opponent's deck, and action once per game. Crush one of your life cloth. If you do, shuffle your deck and add the top card of your deck to your life cloth. I think she's super interesting, especially giving she gives you guaranteed life regard. And then looking at your opponent's top part of their life cloth is just a Chad move.
Oh yeah, it's like it's pretty rude if you ask.
Yeah, because generally what you're gonna do is like, oh, they have a life burst. Well, can I deal with it? Yes or no? No. Remove it and put it into their deck, and then shuffle and you know,
Yeah,
uh, or swap it with the top card of your opponent's deck. If it's like, hey, it has no life burst, put it back.
yeah, I definitely like how like really proactive that aspect of it.
Yeah. Her once per game, I wouldn't say is great. It can give you like a weird random burst effect. Um, but I still think even with a burst, that's kind of risky. Because half the time, I would say, especially in blue decks, most blue cards are about downing your opponent's, Signy, stopping them from attacking, freezing your opponent's cell rig, discarding cards, and drawing cards. So I don't think it's like super great in that aspect. Um, it's a little less risky, but still pretty high risk, at least with the deck that I'm building, or I have a blue-red Jewel deck, and Jewels can tend to vanish, but to me, I guess I was playing Machina Repair, which lets me put a card from my trash onto my burst zone or my life cloth without life burst, and I just use her once per game. I draw a card or enter charge one, and then just add another card on and hope for the best.
Yeah, Eldora, I definitely yeah, because like as you said too, like with how like blue tends to be about like all about control. It's like she doesn't overtly support the archetypes, and she's all about life cloth manipulation. But I also just feels that that kind of leads to, I guess, a lot of creative liberty when it comes to deck building in terms of like making sure like each one, like if the fact that you are trying to manipulate like your life cloth and your burst and whatnot.
Oh
I
yeah,
guess
like like
that just gives you like a lot of room to really like put out like what like life burst you definitely want for sure.
yeah. Well, I mean, like even using her, constant. You don't really have to worry about drawing cards because every life or every cloth that's crushed, you're gonna be drawing a card or enter charge. So you kind of already
Exactly.
have like the blue and green just mashed right in when you're
Yeah, that
taking
is
damage at
true.
least.
That is true.
But so it's like you can kind of build a bit more aggressive with her, in my opinion, with or even arguably use a bit more like aggressive life burst. But then you're also kind of finagling with what L or what Signy have what life burst, and how you can kind of build your deck cohesively along with that.
Yeah, that's true. I guess like it'd probably also just kind of be dependent like how you want to build like or I guess like maybe like picking a strategy. Like a
Yeah.
specific type of like strategy like, if we're trying to go for like more like defensive control or just like more like aggro within blue. But like even then, um I know there's also like there's always the option of just like a typical blue Esper variant as well.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah, and I think I think she would work well enough with Esper. Um, I haven't tried it yet, but I could see her doing moderately well. But I do personally think there's just better Elric for an Esper deck.
For sure.
But I do think Eldora is fun, viable, and little spicy.
Yeah, I definitely think like in like if you want to again like categorize everything, she would probably just like be in the middle. Like she's not.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If I had to put her on
I
like
think
scale like
she can
1 to 10,
definitely make
I'd
her
probably
work.
put her like a 6.
And I definitely feel the same way. However, artwork is 10 out of 10.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. I love her artwork, and I'm not gonna lie, I actually like her normal level 3 artwork more than her ultra. I don't know why, but I do.
Interesting.
I don't know whoever did the artwork for that. I can look that up probably really quick. Who was the
Yeah,
artist?
I don't
Was
think I've actually seen her like ultra rare variant.
um I have actually seen her ultra rare variant. It's more in line with like the uh outfit she wears in the anime.
Oh god, yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now, but yeah, I can see what you mean. That like her just generic or just like her generic version. Just look, there seems to be more going on with that one.
Yeah. I just yeah, I think her level 3 does look cooler. The artist for that one seems to be you Mayu. I don't have any links to credential or any art or anything like that. That's just I'm looking at the illustrator for it. And it looks like the illustrator for the ultra rare was Ichi. I have no idea who either of them are though.
Yeah, I was like wondering, like, do they have any like references or any sort of like past
I'm
work?
not seeing any. I'm pretty sure a lot of the artists in Wecross in general do work on more than just one card. But I would not be able to tell you off the top of my head what cards share the same.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not either.
There's a couple I would say I'd be able to pinpoint, but not that one.
Yeah, there's
Um,
like just so many in the game that I'm just like, yeah, I already it's already hard enough to keep up with like card effects, let alone like something like hyper specific.
yeah, hyper. Yeah, like who's the illustrator for this card? Like I don't know.
So I don't even know what the effect does.
Yeah. um. So I will say I am not a green player. I have not touched green since I think Bong was first released as a center Elrig. After that, I haven't touched green. Um, I did play Wolf for a little bit for Terra Beast.
Oh, good. How was that actually?
Oh, back in the day, Terra Beast sucked. Nowadays, Terra Beast is viable, but I still wouldn't say great because the problem with the Terra Beast package is even though there's a whole lot of green and enter charging, um, all the effects of a lot of the Terra Beasts are very expensive. So all the enter charging just ends up being burned anyway.
Got it. I mean, yeah, I was gonna say from what I'm aware of, like a lot of their gimmick is just like
Yeah,
power
they're just
boosting and
huge
just
beef
enter
houses.
charging.
Yep, yep. They're just beef houses. Enter charge when you can, and they do vanish quite a bit, to be honest.
Ah, I
But it's
see.
super expensive. Or it's like, hey, this Terra Beast has to have X amount of power or more, and then pay 2 or something like that. So, eh. But kind of going along with the whole green thing, I don't think Terra Beast would fit into an on package, honestly. But on is the next Elrig we're gonna kind of go across here. Her enter is add up to 2 target signy from your enter zone to your hand. Uh, Once per turn, target card in your enter zone gains multi-enter until the end of the turn. And her once per game is return all signy on your opponent's field that have the highest power on their field to the owner. I don't like her enter. I'm not gonna lie. Because at that point, you're probably going to be blowing through 4 enter after grow, like a total of 4 enter by the start of your turn, as you're going to be paying 2 to grow her, and then taking 2 more to or 2 more cards out of your enter zone and adding them to hand. I could see it being useful, especially if you want to keep like a couple level 3s kind of tucked away in there. But that's just a whole lot of enter burn, and I think like just going through a whole crap ton of enter. I think her action is actually really cool, especially if you're running multicolor decks. The ability to just go like, yeah, that one that can be any color I need it to be. I think that's actually a really good ability. Her once per game I think is very situational. You basically have to hope that your opponent has like 2 12,000 level 3s on the field.
So actually, I was speaking about her once a game. I was exposed and introduced to like a sort of combo that like capitalizes on her once a game. So there's a spell called Unbreakable Javelin if I pull it up. But from at the top of my head, I remember Unbreakable Javelin actually makes it to where all of your opponent's signy are 10k. So that actually really synergizes really well with hands once a game, and by default they're all the same attack. So therefore, they'll get all of your opponents they can get bounced to hand.
Was that this set or the last one?
Unbreakable Javelin. Unbreakable Javelin was released. Oh, it was actually released in the same set as I was in Vertex, so it was the same set as DXM.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't recall that one at all. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so I actually have it pulled up. So it's a green spell with a green. It's cost a 1 green, 1 white, and 1 anything.
Okay,
The text.
Javelin.
The text reads, target signature on your field gains land strength until end of turn, and all signature in your opponent's field lose their abilities, and their base power becomes 10,000.
Okay, so that actually would combo really well with her. I would say the flip side of that is that would really limit you to playing. You need white, essentially. Well, her action actually could change it to white, so you wouldn't even need white.
Yeah, I definitely like her. I never really considered it until I really just like thought deeply about like her the flexibility of her multi-enter effect. Like, because I feel like a lot of us have like been in situations to where we're in a game state we're like, oh, it would have been nice to have that, insert like alternate color like enter.
Yeah,
And
I
that
mean, I
just like,
would say you could also argue to use calculation.
oh, what does that one do?
So calculation's actually a spell from I believe this current set or the last one might have been Welcome Back. Let me double check that. That was Lost Ring. So that was the last set in which it costs 1 green. Declare a number from 2 to 20. Target Signy's base power becomes the declared number times 1,000 until the end of the turn. So with that though, you can go, all right, cool. I'm going to declare 7, so like 7,000, and then I'd say 12, I guess. But like, yeah, say you go, all right, 12. That Signy now has 12,000 power, as this Signy also has 12,000 power.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
I know that going a little bit off topic, but I know calculation also works, I believe, for Thoroughbred and a couple other ones. Where it's like, because I think Thoroughbreds is like if all Signy on your field have like power of 30,000 or more combined, draw a card like that. So calculation is actually a really solid card to fix like the power level, because you can ultimately make a Signy 20k power.
So now that I think about it, I feel like that could also like, I really didn't even know about this card until I think one of the guys at the ceremony mentioned it. But like just the fact that like you can, if you like need to go over like an H2O or like remember, for example, you can just do it at the cost of 1 enter.
Well, you can't make it 0. That is one problem.
Right.
But I mean, if you're running black green, you can make her like a 2k and then negative 2k her super easy.
Ooh, that is true. I mean, it does say target Signy, so I think you can also target your own Signy. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you can target your own.
I feel like I could even get around like Machina Bind, even if you were like maybe like make like your base power 20,000, and like play like something like that, like boost like the power of your own Signy, so you'd be like above 20,000.
Yeah, if you're able to get it, like declare it to be, and then add a little bit more, yeah, you could actually get around mocking a bind.
I didn't even think about that until just now.
So I do think On has like a little bit of viability. I don't think she's gonna be super common to see, at least. At least me personally, I've not seen anybody actually play her. And I mean, green is generally considered like the weakest color, so it's that I think that just kind of has a stigma upon itself.
Yeah, that
But
is true.
I could see On being like a weird under coming out of.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I just feel like if people don't know about the unbreakable javelin combo, like they will probably look at her
Unbreakable
at a
javelin calculation, yeah,
like
definitely
if they
adding
like
those
if they
spells in.
look yeah like if they look at it at a very first glance, they'll probably immediately write her off. But like, I'm not gonna say his name because you know who you are if you're listening. But there's like one person I know that's like been trying to make her work, and it's actually pretty like solid. Like it like functions as like a sort of like um almost like an Esper like good stuff deck with some green with like energy door and whatnot as two as like as their piece.
Yep.
And so they essentially kind of like wall up and like kind of just. I mean, because I know like the one thing about green that's like really annoying is that like, they're pretty resistant to like um resource denial just because they always like
Oh yeah, they're
like
just constantly enter charging. Yeah.
exactly enter charging and like they always get the cards back to their hand. So it's like
Yep.
discarding and trying to like enter deny them is kind of useless. So it's like it function. I mean, that's just like the color in general.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, just everybody kind of knows, like, yeah, green just enter charges left and right, so it can be
right.
a hard counter to a lot of white decks.
So it's like I guess like if you really want to like just think about it too, like there's always that to consider.
Yeah.
But I feel like with Anne especially, it's really just the element of surprise. I feel like
Yeah, agreed.
that's really gonna like take people off guard with like in terms of her general game plan.
I mean, I would definitely agree, because even before this conversation, I tossed On off as like, nah, she's useless. Like, what are you gonna do? Use her once per game, get rid of one because it's 12k and they have like a 10 and 8, and I was like, bah.
Right.
But then it's like, oh no, there's literally 2 spells that could actually do that, and the one spell that requires white, you wouldn't even need to add white into the deck because you could just use her action to turn one or an enter into multi-enter.
Exactly. Like it's like I like I said too. I feel like she's better than what people think at a first glance. Like since she does offer that much flexibility. But kind of like I feel like with the other LRs that we talked about earlier, like she's not gonna be like
Yeah,
like
she's not
she's
gonna be
not
like
gonna be
meta shifting.
groundbreaking.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Um, but speaking, I would say the most groundbreaking, and I use groundbreaking with quotes, like groundbreaking. I would say is actually Iona. Uh, and I think that's more so just I think more people are using her because it's Iona. She's got a huge fan base from the anime.
Oh, for sure.
But her enter ability is put target Signy from your trash onto your field. Her once per turn is put the top 2 cards of your deck into your trash, and target Signy on your opponent's field gets negative 2,000 power until the end of the turn. Her once per game is pay 1 black, 1 colorless. During your opponent's next turn, your opponent's Signy must attack if able. At the end of the turn, vanish all Signy that attack. I honestly think her once per game is actually pretty solid because you might have your field wiped, sure, but that's just going to enter charge you, and then all of your opponent's Signy are gone. You have a clear field with her,
Yeah, I
unless
think
they somehow get around. But
yeah, she has a lot going on for her.
yeah, her enter honestly is pretty solid as well. I know at least from what I kind of gathered, the way to use her enter ability is to enter charge something off the field, and have something like a level 3 that you want on first turn level 3 from in your trash, and then just drop it on the field.
Ooh, that is true.
Yep. Like
I mean,
that's what
she
you want to
does.
do is clear something off the field, drop something from the trash.
I mean, she definitely does what Black does best, when it's just like constant like recursion, and it's like, cool, you want to discard me? Great, you're giving me more resources to use later.
Yep. Yep. Oddly enough, one of the things I could say that would really be super powerful for her is well, herself, the Memoria. If
Ooh,
I'm not mistaken, I know she was in, I think, was it the Lost Ridge one?
I think it was in the Welcome Back Diva, or like the set P06.
Yeah, it was in. Yep, it was in. Yeah, Welcome Back in Select. Yep. In which what was it? It was Iona Memoria Code Ancients. Yeah. So the Signy in front of the Signy must attack if able. Sounds similar. But whenever this Signy attacks, you may pay 2. If you do, vanish target Signy on your opponent's field whose power is different from its power. And her enter ability is, if the Signy entered the field from the trash, target Signy on your opponent's field gets negative 1,000 power until the end of the turn. So you'll use Iona to play Iona from the trash, like the Iona Memoria from the trash, give a Signy on your opponent's field negative 1,000, and then when she attacks, swing, and then pay 2, and then vanish.
Like practically almost like guaranteed like way to get her off.
It's basically a guaranteed 1 damage as long as you can get that Iona out onto the field from the Elrig's enter ability.
So actually, like speaking of Iona Memoria, I saw a combo with Iona Memoria and Machina Bind that actually was pretty disgusting because it says Iona Memoria's constants that the Signy in front of it has to attack. So if you were to, like, for example, if you were to field out 2 Iona Memorias,
Ooh,
and then
yeah.
put up Machina Bind,
They have to, yep. And which would just straight up vanish them unless they're, like a beefed up Terror Beast, I guess.
right? Which obviously, like the likelihood of that is going to be very low, but
Mhm.
like when someone pointed that out to me, and they actually like played it during like a testing match, I was like, that's actually pretty sick.
Yeah. Well, I think even I think that's Iona's like once per game. You could still even pull that off.
But just imagine with like Machina Bind and like
Yeah.
Iona's like once a game, and
No,
like
that'd be
Iona Memoria.
gross. Yeah, that's gross actually to really think about. Like, having the Iona Memorial out, and then dropping like the once per game and then Machina Bind. That's gross. That is a gross thing, and it's sickening. But dang, does that sound tasty?
It's like, oh, yeah, I feel like I could like,
That's just telling your opponent to walk into a knife.
and that's like pretty terrifying. And I just feel like that's like a really, it's like in that case, if we're gonna run Iona center with like Machina Bind, then
That's just that fear of like, man, that just sounds like hardcore. Like, all right, cool. How creepy do you want to get with black? You are basically telling your opponent you have full control over their board by doing.
which is actually like pretty solid. I just feel like with that
that's
manipulation
gross.
yeah, I feel like with that manipulation alone, like she's like a really strong contender to like probably like do really well.
I think so. Yeah, I think Iona is probably going to be the biggest one out of this set. I would even kind of go so far as to say I've kind of seen that already with a good handful of people already playing Iona.
Yeah, despite like the big fan base, I really haven't seen too many people actively playing with her.
I've seen a lot more people, I would say, like theory crafting with her. But yeah, even like I know the ceremony we went to, nobody was playing Iona. I think even Card Garden's locals, at least recently, this past weekend I wasn't able to partake because I was with Bubble and we were both at the ceremonies in Oklahoma. But the weekend prior to that, I did play. I don't think I saw one person play Iona, but I could be wrong. But I don't recall seeing it in any Iona. So, Bubble and I might be on the same page here, going like, "Hey, watch out for the Ionas. Might be an underdog."
And, like that definitely like just keep under the radar because I feel like she's also kind of like a very solid like underdog for sure.
Yeah. Even with the added like negative 2k, like once per turn type of thing, I think she can just push, like if you're pushing a lot of negatives, I think she can just push that over the edge and at least kind of consistently take out something on the field.
Yeah, like if that's like part of her game plan, like it definitely. I mean, I feel like as we've seen too, like every bit of damage or any form of help like always matters in the long run. So I feel like
Yep.
that definitely would like help for sure.
But so on the opposite side of Iona, I would say so they came out with some Tama assists.
What could
Looks
you?
like we got 2 level 1s, 2 level 2s. Loud Voice, Tama Loud Voice, 0 cost, level 1. Basically, you're going to bounce a target Signia with 10k or less to your opponent's hand. I would say that's pretty typical white level 1. Maybe kind of like a cool, replacement for Akino or Ange, I guess.
I like the fact that like, because a lot of assists like nowadays, it's like they target a 5 or a 8k, but the fact that she targets up to a 10k, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, it is really strong. I will agree with that. And it's free. It's free real estate.
And like, if you think about it too, like there are a few like weaker like level 3s that are also 10k, so she could theoretically target those as well.
Yeah. She could target essentially anything from level 1 all the way down to, I would say, like weaker level 3s. So you could really even hold her off until turn 2 or 3 if you needed it.
Which that alone is also pretty disgusting.
Yeah. The other level 1 is Tama Bible. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Signy, and add it to your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Simple, generic, I would say, white draw or white
but nothing
hand
too out of
draw.
the ordinary.
Yeah. If anything, if I was to pick a Tama assist, I'd definitely go with Loud Voice personally, unless you're running, I don't know, some sort of hand or deck where you need to start filtering out cards like ASAP.
I mean, that's something we mentioned earlier. I feel like you could possibly pair that up with Eldora, since like all you're doing is like, I think like we're talking about how like there's a sort of like life cloud healing effect, like where you like shuffle your deck or whatever. I don't know. I guess in that instance you could, but yeah, generally speaking, Loud Voice is probably going to be the preferred pick.
Yeah, I think Loud Voice is going to see a lot more play for. Looks like the first level 2 is Shield. Her cost 2 colorless. Target Signy on your opponent's field gains the Signy cannot attack until turn. The next ability is discard 2 cards. Target Signy on your opponent's field loses its abilities until the end of the turn. And then third one is pay 1 white 2 colorless. Return target level 1 on your opponent's field to its owner's hand.
It's a lot of text.
It is. But basically what she does is, again, like, 1, she stops 1 from attacking. Discard 2 cards to remove the abilities from a Signy, and then pay 1 white and 2 colorless to return a level 1 to the owner's hand. I think that's just a little like spread everywhere. Because best case scenario, you're gonna stop 2. But at that point, you're also paying a total of 5.
It's essentially it strikes to me as like just a white variant of like Monica Clap, or like even like another version of like Disrespect almost.
Yeah, I would almost want to say a worse version of Disrespect. I mean, I guess removing your opponent's abilities or bouncing a target level 1 to hand is like, okay, cool, but I think paying 3 to bounce a level 1 is just really expensive.
Yeah. In terms of like cost of economy, it's definitely could be a little bit better.
Yeah,
I can
it's
see
meh.
I can see this card being like really useful against like because I know like her second enter discarding 2 and like potentially a blanket ability. I mean, that'll work really well with decks that give like Lancer or like Assassin. But yeah, I definitely thought this was gonna be more of a niche like purpose, really.
Yeah, I think it's like that'd be used for like more of a specific counter building rather than just general. So,
Yeah, no,
yeah, I'm kind of like on that one.
right. I get there if you wanted, but I definitely agree that like it's very niche
Yeah,
with what it's trying to do.
yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. The next time a level 2, 1 colorless, enter, declare a number, then reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. If there's a Signy whose level is the same as the declared number among them, return target Signy in your opponent's field to its own hand. Return the cards revealed with this effect to the top of your deck in any order. So it sounds a little risky. I think most people would probably go with like level 1 or 3. If they reveal a spell, that kind of sucks for them, I guess.
I feel like this would work really well with Cosmos.
I will kind of agree. I think this would be banging with Cosmos because everything would just be 1. But the other effect that I think might be a little overlooked is return the cards revealed with this effect to the top of your deck in any order. So you're able to actually play around with what cards you draw. Like, you're able to rearrange them in any way, shape, or form.
So it's
One of the
essentially just like a Hecate on wheels.
kind of, like, I'm not gonna lie, it'll definitely super spicy. But one of my first thoughts was like, what if I played Lion Alt and I revealed a Servant?
Oh, that is a good point,
Like, put that
actually.
thing right on top.
And like I know like the Lion like center already typically is ran like a mono white build, so this would actually pair really well with it.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's actually really cool.
I don't think it's gonna see a lot of use. I don't think I've actually seen people been using Tama assists. Mostly because she's just very popular as a center. But I could definitely see some really spicy kind of like off the wall things with Tama Boundary. I don't know how much, but I think more people will probably use arguably Tama Aura.
Ooh, could you explain what that one does?
Enter. Target Elrig on your field gains auto once per turn. When this Elrig attacks, up this Elrig and it loses its abilities until the end of the turn.
And that's like absolutely free. That's
Yep. I don't think
yeah.
you can attack again. I believe you cannot attack again. I would probably have to verify that. Because I don't think you can attack multiple times. But if this would be a super hard counter to say like Modica or Peeping Future. I think this would be a hardcore just counter to freeze and arguably blue, like downing Elrig.
Although target that's tough. I maybe not that's necessarily just because Tama Aura like still requires your essential Elder to attack to begin with.
Yeah, I think whoever would use this would definitely have to like play it smart and kind of preemptively guess what their opponent's going to do to really make it effective.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't see it being that great. It is a main phase only. It is free, cool, free. But usually with free main phase level 2s, I tend to kind of go with like it's harder to use them effectively at least, or they're more niche situations.
Yeah, like just generally speaking, any sort of like main phase like specific assist I've always been weary of. Just because like you're almost forced to like make your other assist like a full 3 stop.
Yeah.
Or like if it is a main phase, like you better offer like a lot to the table. But because I was gonna say too, like Tama Aura is like kind of like one of the key pieces in like a lot of like Dash Toronto decks that are like rampant right now.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Well, it's because Donna, Hirana Dash, just absolutely flops to freeze. So Tama Aura just helps, kind of protect your win condition there by keeping
Mhm.
that Hirana like upped.
Yeah, outside of like the Dash decks, I don't really imagine like many people are gonna want to run Tama Aura when there's probably just better level 2s out there.
Yeah. I think most people are probably just going to try and be hyper aggressive and playing a bit defensively, especially if they're just running dash.
Yeah, and at that point, like you're kind of like stretching yourself thin on like defense.
Yeah. But I mean, speaking of, Hirana being a red player, so they did come out with some real assists. We have real flash. Her enter ability, or she's free. Level 1s tend to be free, of course, but free. Enter vanish target level 2 or less. Super basic red ability, but the ability to vanish level 2 or less is really good in my opinion because it doesn't matter what power they are, it's the level. And I think real flash is honestly a really solid red assist.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Just because I feel like it has, I mean, it practically has the same targeting condition as Akino Rock, but just the
Yep.
fact, like alone, that it doesn't rely on
It doesn't
power
rely
is
on a
already
power level, yeah.
exactly. So it has such like a wider target
Yep.
right there.
So real flame dance. Yeah, it's okay. I think depends on what you're really going with. So her enter is vanish target signature with power of 5,000 or less. So you're looking at like really basic level ones. Probably vanilla level ones or weaker. But our other ability is gain 2 coin. If you're not running a coin center signy, this could help you a little bit, especially if you're running some sort of bet coin or bet cards in your deck, say like Mass Legend or it can kind of set you up for having some extra abilities later down.
Oh,
But
for
I don't
sure.
know. I don't know if that's. I think that depends on your deck build. It can be better or worse than, the other real. I think the other one is just in general better. Advantage level 2.
Yeah, like even then, like there's really not that many like coin. Probably there's not like that many like actively like play like coin support cards, but it's really worth burning an assist over.
Yeah. We have real drawn sword. 2 colorless. Vanish. Her enter is vanish target signature on your opponent's field. Pretty solid for 2. Action once per game. So her assist right here actually has a once per game though. Vanish target signy on your opponent's field for the cost of 1 red and 2 colorless. So I think that's super interesting and can definitely throw somebody off guard. Because as far as I know, there's no other assist Elric who actually has a once per game ability attached.
I think actually like the only one that exists right now is Mel.
No, yeah,
But
I think
even
you're right, but
then,
yeah, not a whole lot of actually no, you're right. Because that threw me off a game. At Card Garden a couple weeks ago. They pulled Mel on me and they were like, "All right, cool, I'm using Mel's once per game," and I was like, "Oh, what? Using assists once per game? Oh, what?"
like you already grew them. Like
Yeah, I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What do you mean? Like, whoa, hold up!" And they're like, "No, no, no, it does this," and I'm like, "Oh, crap."
yeah, that extra utility like matters a lot too.
Yeah. Well, the fact that most people are gonna forget too, like it's been such a thing that assist L rigs are. Once you basically play an assist L rig, it's done. They're completed. You get the +1, the effect resolves. Bada bing, bada boom. Go on, go home, eat your spaghetti. So having one that has a once per game ability that you can use at some point later on just kind of blows people's minds. Like, whoa, what? And it can just throw them off guard. Like, I did not expect my opponent to have this rill, and then once per game pay 3 vanish a signy. Like,
Guess you
oh
could
crap.
say, guess you could say it's a real surprise.
Ah,
But yeah, I definitely think this could be like a really good like one-stop option, knowing that you have like like almost unconditional free removal up
yeah.
like even after upon growing.
Yep. Well, I mean, yeah. So it's like you're paying 2 upfront to just vanish something. And you can even use that on the attack phase. And then during your main phase, because it is an action, at some point later on, you can just start hoarding up 3 enter at least, and then just wipe something off the board.
And it says vanish target signets. That's like really anything.
Yep. You can straight up vanish anything. Yep. I think honestly, if people are going to be running real, it's going to be drawn. Looking at prayer, I don't think prayer is going to be. Yeah, I don't think prayer is going to be that. I mean, you can arguably pay 3. But it does say like you're still giving your opponent choices because your opponent's going to choose any number of signy on the field if they must attack if the chosen signy is able, and the other ones cannot. And then you'll pay 3, and whenever a signy on your opponent's field attacks his turn, if it's the second or later attack, vanish that signy. So she's really only going to stop, uh, you know, 1, or she's only going to stop 2 at best, and you're probably paying for that. It's just to me, it's a weird roundabout way of going about it.
Yeah, like, I mean, kind of like the conversation we had with like Yuki Yuka. It's like if I can see it being effective if you're trying to like purposely set up your opponent in a really suboptimal board, but other than that, like, I would rather just like have a very cut and clear black and white, like just vanish something,
Well,
or
okay,
like just
I will say, I think I'm thinking about this. So they're both enter abilities. They would both resolve at the same time. So you pick and choose what one resolves first, right?
Right.
So you would just tell your opponent, like, hey, pick whatever Signy you, pick what Signy you want to attack, right?
Right.
So they'll go like, well, okay, I know the other abilities, like, all right, anything past 2, will get vanished if they attack. Like, all right, so I'll pick this one, it has to attack, the other ones can't. Like, okay, I'm not going to pay 3 now. Like, oh, crap, all right. Well, and then let's go like, well, okay, I'll attack with these 2. All right, cool, I'll pay 3, resolve the other one. One of them's gone. Because you would have a choice as to what order you want them resolved in.
Ooh, that almost like some like mental like mind games you'd have to play with your opponent.
Kind of, yeah. That's Cutian all over it. Real Prayer is just a red Cutian.
I low-key kind of like that actually. Now that you mentioned that.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of like a little bit of a juke there. Okay, I'm not a big fan of Real Inspiration. 1 cost, main phase only though. Enter, draw 3 cards, and put up to 1 Signy from your hand onto your field. Then vanish target Signy on your opponent's field with less power than that Signy. I could
Ugh.
see it being okay, but you have to basically have an open slot for it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I feel like this is just straight up unplayable, honestly.
yeah, I'm not. And maybe like help against like maybe a discard deck, but at that point you're counter building a discard deck.
And at that point, you're also like burning an assist, trying to like mitigate.
Yeah, I think this would have been way better if it was attack phase as well. Because then you could play a card to take or fill in an open lane. But seeing that it's main phase only, meh. Like, cool, you can vanish something, but say, what if you have no hand, you draw the 3 and you draw like a Servant, a Romale, and then, maybe like a Decorabia. You're like, all right, cool, I guess I'll play Decorabia. 10k or less, and it's like, okay, my opponent's weakest Signy is 10, I guess. So it's like, all right, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, your hand can still flop.
Yeah, there's just too much room for error for this one, so I
Yeah,
definitely would just kind of write it off.
I would kind of agree. And I mean, kind of going on the other end of the spectrum here into blue, we got Pyrrhic, level 1 Pyrrhic draw. I'm curious what she does. Enter,
Hmm.
draw 2 cards.
I would have never guessed
Right.
this entire time.
The other level 1 Pyrrhic Snipe. I actually like the art for this. I'm a sucker for girls with guns. Sue me. But I think she's actually going to be great for a discard deck. Super early, 0 cost main phase. Look at your opponent's hand. Choose a card without guard from it, and they discard it.
Yeah,
Super early on, you get to see your opponent's hand, which can give you so much information for the next couple of turns.
and that alone, like, just the hand knowledge just really
Yeah.
changes the game, and like you can really just kind of like almost like formulate like
Yeah, you can just start counterplaying, say, like turn 1 or 2, right then
that's
and there.
crazy. That
Yeah.
is crazy.
For free. We have Pyrrhic, so her level 2, Pyrrhic Don't Escape, 1 cost, main and attack phase. Down target Signy on your opponent's field. Then you can also pay a total of 5 with 1 blue and 4 colorless, down up to 2 target Signy on your opponent's field whose total level is 4 or less. I don't think this is that great. The 1 cost and then down target Signy on your opponent's field is decent. The fact that you have to pay 5 to down up to 2 target Signy's total level is 4. You're really betting on your opponent to have specific Signy.
Yeah, this is just the worst version of, or this is just the more expensive version of like Uber Down that does
Yeah,
practically the same thing, but for like only 3 enter.
yeah. I think Pyrrhic Don't Move is going to be a better version of that if they want it down. Main and attack phase, 3 colorless. Enter, down up to 2 target Signy on your opponent's field, just straight up, just down 2. Then you can also pay 2 colorless to draw 2 cards. I think this one has a bit more utility. If you have the extra resources and you need more cards, like you have the extra enter, but you need more cards in hand, boom, there you go. Otherwise, you just pay 3 to down 2, and honestly, paying 3 to negate 2 damage is pretty average. So I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, I feel like this would probably seem like the most amount of play if you're wanting to run a Pyrrhic assist.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think some aggressive freeze decks might run the next one, which is Peeping Analyze. It is a 2 cost. It is main phase only, but you look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it, and they discard. So you're discarding. You're looking at their hand, and discarding whatever you want,
Including guards.
yep, including servant. And then you also freeze target Elrig on your opponent. So you're gonna negate technically an Elrig attack with a card for 2. I think Peeping Analyze is the flip side of the previous peer, like they were talking about. Don't move. I think Don't Move is definitely more of the defensive peer luck. Peeping Analyze is the offensive peer luck.
Yeah, I can definitely see that too. And again, like just gaining hand knowledge is like really valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like Peeping Analyze. If you wanted to be like, if you were trying to go in for lethal, you knew you could get in lethal and just hoping that Life Burst doesn't screw you over. And you just go, all right, cool. If there's no burst difference, you know, and my Elrig attack can get in, I win. Drop Pyrrhic, discard a servant if they have it, and then worst case scenario, you're now freezing their Elrig, so you're also then negating 1 damage.
Although hilariously enough, I can also just imagine a situation where you use Peeping Analyze and they
And
have
then Peeping
multiple
Future.
servants.
That would kind of stink, but you'd also now know that.
Yeah, overall, I feel like her assist line's like actually pretty good.
Yeah, Pure Look assist line is would I say like top tier? Yeah, arguable. I think that really depends on deck build, but I do think her general assist line is actually solid. I think Rill has some good ones. Probably down to like maybe two or three max that are actually good. The rest can kind of be tossed in bulk, I guess. Tama, I think, is not horrible, but not great. I think, but if you're pretty much running white, I think there's better white assists for your general deck builds.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And most people running white are probably going to be running Tama center anyway. So yeah.
I mean, they're just there for like alternatives if you need them. But other than
Yeah.
that, like nothing too out of the ordinary.
Yeah. One thing that I will say is a little bit out of the ordinary, you know, kind of going into a cool little segue here. Ha ha, clap, clap, clap. The pieces in this set are actually pretty unique for the sole fact that they actually, their effects are based on what color Elrigs you have in your dream team. So the first one that kind of pops up is called Aggressive Knight. All these you do have to have dream teams for, which means all the Elrigs have to be different colors. Aggressive Knight requires you to have white. But if you have a blue Elrig on your field, look at your opponent's hand, choose a card from it, and they discard it. If you have green, enter charge 3, and if you have a black, target signature in your opponent's field gets negative 15,000 power until end of turn. Now, my personal opinion, I think this is really solid. Fits into a whole lot of deck. I think we can actually kind of say this for a lot of these pieces, is these pieces can fit into a whole lot of decks because of these differences in what they can do with the colors. And the art is just chef's kiss.
Yeah, I really like the pieces in the set just because they offer so much utility and flexibility with deck building and just like what your strategy is trying to do.
Yeah, I would say this for all the pieces in the set. They are super flexible. They're just really like you could take the same piece from like you could take aggressive Knight, play it in one deck, throw it into a completely other deck, and it just benefits you and does a completely different thing. And I think the set just in general just really pushes like the dream team and even just these what 1, 2, 3, 4 these these 6 pieces from this set can be used in more than just like 6 arc decks. You can mix and match them with, I would say, arguably 20 plus decks total.
And what's crazy, like like there's gonna be more pieces like that are coming out that are very similar to this type of like flexible, like in terms of like um flexibility, like deck building type of like aspect as well. Like there's more that's really what like blows my mind.
Yeah.
There's more coming out there.
Yep. Like this is just the start of it. And
But
it's
what I
just
like,
I think it adds so much variation and so much just like just surprises for a lot of decks.
yeah, and like while we were talking about pure luck earlier, like just the fact that aggressive might also gives you hand knowledge is also just pretty nuts.
Yeah. Like yeah, being able to see your opponent is pretty nutty because I would say prior to what Peeping Futures release, I don't think anybody really had the ability to just straight up look at your opponent's hand.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think Peeping Future was. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I very well could be wrong, but I think Peeping was like the first big thing to at least just go like, hey, show me your hand.
But
Um,
outside of just like straight up, outside of like random discarding, I also don't think there's anything that would just reveal your opponent's hand.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think generally you'd find out just by having discard. I
So
mean,
like in a
so
way, like it almost like just like the fact like it's a controlled, like you get to control like what they have.
yeah,
That is just so much like power right there.
yep. I mean, even if you don't control what they technically have, you still have the knowledge of what they can and or probably will do.
Exactly, which kind of just like
Yeah,
coincides with that sort of like counterplay that you can do like when like you see what they have.
yeah. Well, especially I would say in Wecross too is like with the fact that you have variation, especially with burst. One of the key things, in my personal opinion, to winning in Wecross is knowledge. If you know what your opponent's going to do, you can start counterplaying and then start winning or having at least an increased chance of winning.
Oh no, 100%. Like just having like a sort of like just having a say wide pool of knowledge is just so powerful in this game,
Yup.
and it's
Yeah.
and then in a way that's like what kind of makes it stressful, almost stressful, just because like both players know exactly what they're doing. It's like it's just mentally taxing because
Oh yeah, definitely.
you're essentially just walking on eggshells the whole time.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the almost all the pieces from this set kind of do some similar stuff where depending on what color L rigs you have, they have different effects. A lot of them just go with the 6 colors. I think most or all of them are basically based around the different base L rig colors, and they all do different things. Um, I know we're kind of like stretching our time here. I think we already reached about an hour, so um, might have to kind of speed this one up a little bit. And speaking of speeding up, I would say Tomy is definitely picking up some speed here with their big announcement. Bubble, if you want to kind of tell everybody that one, even though I don't think it's really new news at this point.
Yeah, so like in July, I believe the 22nd,
Yep.
Sparta Magica is hosting a large in-person event, the WeCross Grand Prix, the Diva Grand Prix. It's gonna be one of the largest, or should be the largest, in-person event that we've had thus far.
Yep. From what I've read, looks like the cap is going to be set at 128. So the standard ceremony size so far that we've kind of had. But it is going to be hosted in Las Vegas. We already have information on the location. I believe the prizings already for most of it. It looks like it's going to be held at the Alexis Resort. I believe it was. It was like the Alexis
Like
something.
resort hotel, I believe.
Alexis
Something like
Park
that.
Resort. Yes. Yep. The Alexis Park Resort. It's going to be held, as you said, on July 22nd. Looks like it's going to start at about 10 in the morning. Let me double check. Yep, 10 in the morning. 7 rounds with a 30-minute lunch break. Boo. But, yep, 7 rounds with a 30-minute lunch break. Looks like the final round will be ending at about a little after 3 o'clock, with top 8 starting at 3:45 after deck check. We have the prizings as well. So the
They
prizings
just
look to
came out
be,
yesterday.
yeah, I think, yep, prizings just came out yesterday. Uh, by default, any participants get a Grand Prix mat with, I believe, a variant Ultra Superheroes artwork, or just in a neat little artwork for the Grand Prix, because I don't think, yeah, just Grand Prix specific artwork on it. Features a good handful of L rigs. So the prizings that we're looking at is going to be top 8 will receive different variations of Ultra Superheroes. Oh, sorry, that is what the mat is based off of, is the alternate artwork for Ultra Superhero. Top 8 will get different variations of that with, I believe, like etchings on it or something like that. Champion will, of course, get an acrylic trophy. The finalists, which I believe would be second place, will also get a trophy. Third and fourth will also get trophies as well, with special designs. Top 8 will just get the congrats Ultra Superheroes. Top 16 looks like it's going to get a reprint of the congrats Osagitsune's Arkwins and the new congratulations Exia. I think those are going to be super spicy and really hard to get and probably very expensive.
Yeah, the
But-
artwork on the new Exia is like so.
Oh,
nice.
it is good. It is great.
Like Exia as is already like a highly sought after card.
Yep,
Let
and
alone
this just has better artwork.
like
Oh,
I'm
it
just
is-
kind of expecting
it's
that like no
nice.
one's gonna want to give them up.
No. I could see some people who maybe aren't white players maybe selling them, but I think they're going to go for like hundreds, to be honest.
I've never been very good at like price predicting, but I feel like maybe like 50 at a minimum.
I'm going to go with about 150 each. If you think about it this way, there's only going to be 16 copies of,
Oh, that's true.
which means a total of 4 people will have a full play set. I think she's going to go for hundreds of dollars. The Osagitsune and the Arkwin, I mean, if we're talking prices, they're going to be a lot lower. They've already been kind of out in the wild from previous ceremonies and stuff like that.
That's true.
I think they're going to be kind of a stable price. But, I mean, hopefully it doesn't sound bad. I would not want people to sell their cards just because of the high price. I think they should hold on to them and just celebrate the fact that they got top 16.
Yeah. I mean, unless they're really into the the financial aspect of it, then cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It's just, I mean, just the fact that like we're finally having a large in-person events already like amazing as it is. So it's like
Yeah.
we should just like savor the fact
Oh,
that
it's super dope. Yeah.
we should just savor the fact we get to be here.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, we're still looking at a good chunk of prizings, in my opinion. Because top 32, they get 3 different congratulations servants. One of them is the ceremony servant they've been giving out recently. The other 2 look to be very unique and new. One looks to be a servant in a maid outfit, and the other one looks to be a servant in a bridal outfit. And nice. Top 64, we will be getting the congrats Baphomets that have already been floating around. All the rest of them, though, seem to be brand new, at least off the top of my head. We're going to get an alternate art Bruno, an alternate art Zhao Yun, an alternate art, I believe, Trouble, an alternate art Parajulis, and an alternate art Hera.
That is a lot.
Yes.
Right there.
Even if you make top 64, you will be getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically, at least 6 promos in a mat. As long as you can reach top 50%.
Yeah, that's like insane value right there.
Yeah, it really is. But one thing that Tomy has actually announced as well for the Grand Prix is the #1 Elrig prize. This is a really interesting thing, actually. So what they're going to do is they have the Sleepy promos for 1 copy of the Sleepy promos for each Elrig. And whoever gets the highest score with that specific Elrig gets a Sleepy promo. So say like, the winning team, I'm just going to throw them out here, the first 3 on there, is a no limit on team deck, right? So first prize is going to get the Rei Hirana Akino. Cool. Nobody else will get those because they've already been claimed. But say somebody is just off their rocker and they play Kyurion on team. Yeah, sure, they maybe didn't do well, but say they got into like, maybe 42nd place. Well, they're the best Kyurion on team. They now get Yuka, Mako or Maho Maho and Miko Miko sleeping Elrigs because they did the best with those Elrigs. So I think that's really interesting because it's basically like, all right, cool, who did the best with these Elrigs? And I mean, you're probably not going to get too far down past 9 times 4 is 36. Divide that by 3. You're looking at probably like, I would say probably like the top 30-ish players will probably get sleeping promos. I could see less popular ones kind of floating a bit farther down. Like hopefully it doesn't sound bad. I could see Cutian being maybe a bit farther down because I don't see an on-team Cutian deck really succeeding too well, but who knows?
Yeah, I really like the fact that they're like in a way encouraging some deck diversity.
Yeah. And that's really what they're doing is they're like, hey, you want these sleeping promos? Play some weird stuff. And I like the little asterisk in there that says, if your center Elrig is Lee's, Toko, or Ange, you can choose from one of the above. Like if you
just
if you play Niji Sanji, choose somebody else.
it's like I don't know if that's like a slap in the face or if it's just like, you know what, just like have free reign of anything you want. Like
I think it might be copyright issues because
oh,
it
that
is
is
Niji
true.
Sanji, yeah. It might be either low stock or copyright issues. Like, yeah, either. Or. But I mean, we got the GP, we got the Grand Prix, we got people going. I don't know how many people are going. I've heard about at least 30-ish people going. I know I'm going. Bubble, I believe you're going as well.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah. We cross Grand Prix. Let's
Yay!
go. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm so excited for it.
I am
We've all
psyched.
been waiting for an in-person event
Right?
this
I
whole
mean,
time.
I will say, on the negative, maybe a day late, dollar short type of deal. But Tomy is still pushing this in the right direction, at least with in-person events, Grand Prix. Like, I think they need to push locals a bit more. Yes, but they are at least. They're pushing in-person ceremonies. We have a Grand Prix, in-person events. You know, I feel like we're getting a bit more local like prizing support. And I mean, there's no local scene here still, sadly. But at least from what you've told me, though, with them doing ceremonies and stuff, it seems to be kind of drumming up some interest as well.
Yeah, I can't really say for each like in the individual area and state, but I definitely like. I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree with you too. Like these efforts are really nice and valiant, but it's a bit too late. But I definitely like the fact that like at least it seems like there's a spark that's like
Yeah,
being reignited like all around.
we're looking at the charcoals here, but they're still lit up. Like we could still hope that they'll light up again. And I'm still psyched that it's still going on. You know, regardless of good or bad, I think this is still a really cool thing that they're doing. Do I have some reservations about a couple of things? Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't know. I'm not gonna throw dirt around a little bit right now, but I still think the Grand Prix is still going to be an amazing thing that's going to happen. I'm hoping to maybe buy some merch. That'd be kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I really just don't have any expectations to like at all. So like it's just I just feel like
Yeah. I mean,
present
I'm
me
keeping
anything,
my
I'll be happy.
expectation is like everybody's just like, cool, we're at a hotel, and they're like, all right, cool, hotel lobby, just whip out some folding chairs and like some, like folding tables or whatever. It's like picnic tables, and it's like, all right, cool, play some cards, and it's like, all right, cool. I'm hoping for, or I would actually kind of definitely expect a bit more than that, but I'm gonna keep my expectations a little on the lower end so that I can just lose my mind with happiness when we get there.
Yeah, I thought that's like just in general, like just a very healthy way to go about it.
Yeah. Keep expectations low so that the reality just sounds way better.
Oh, always.
I think that's called depression. But all right, with everything going on, I'm really excited for the Grand Prix. I know the holidays are coming up, at least for the time of this recording. We have Memorial Day weekend, at least for everybody in the United States. Sorry, everybody listening in Europe. I don't think Memorial Day is a holiday for you guys. My apologies. But for everybody listening in the United States, have a happy Memorial Day. Thanks for listening to this week's Weekly Harvest. And again, we had a great guest today, BubblePerson, who is again the winner of the Broken Arrow, Oklahoma ceremony in Oinkers Island. Feel free to stop by, Garden's Discord channel, say hi to us, give us a high five. If we suck today, just tell us we suck. We'll try and improve. Well, BubblePerson doesn't have to. He's a guest.
I can always improve no matter what.
Yeah. But we'll probably see him around. We might even, at some point we'll probably bring him back on, especially if he wins another ceremony. which he probably will, seeing that he's gone, I think, like, what, 2 ceremonies and won both? Let's go!
2-0.
2-0! We'll see him on, like, the top 16 stream of, like, the Grand Prix.
Oh my gosh, let's not pressure expectations too high.
But thanks again, guys, for listening to this week's Weekly Harvest. Catch you guys later, and thanks again.